Hey guys, Caleb here with something that I usually don't do, and that's a television series review. I usually just delve into movies and music, but this one caught my interest a little bit. This is something that I was a little standoffish of whenever I first saw the trailer and I heard about the news of this reboot, and that is High Fidelity. High Fidelity, of course, is a book that was adapted to a movie starring John Cusack with people like Jack Black in the movie, and it is, I think, one of the better like rom-coms, because it's not a conventional type rom-com. It has a rock and roll soundtrack. It's breaks the fourth wall a lot with John Cusack talking to the audience, and I think it's what got me into my love of top fives, if you can believe that or not. So I was a little curious to see how this new adaptation to Hulu was going to work out, starring Zoe Kravitz. Zoe Kravitz is an actress that I never really had much of an opinion on her. She's been okay in everything that I've seen her in. I think the thing that she was probably best in was maybe like something like Dope, and a movie like Mad Max Fury Road. They don't give her a whole lot to do. There's not a whole lot of dialogue there. So I was curious, and for me, I don't know how it is for everybody else that watches the show. For me, almost right off the bat, like first 5 to 10 minutes, I decided that this was probably the best Zoe Kravitz performance that I've ever seen her give, and from there on out, it's just uphill, if you ask me. She is really, really good in this show. She just really anchors the show. There's like one episode where she doesn't anchor the show because it does focus on another character who's doing something similar to what Zoe Kravitz's character is doing. But yeah, she is definitely what makes the show. She is the driving force. She's the John Cusack character talking to the audience, explaining all of her past love affairs and just top fives in general. And the narrative is quite unique because it'll show something early on in the show, and we don't think much of it, but then later on, she'll go back and be like, well, this actually happened here. I didn't tell you guys about that. And it sort of changes your perspective of what that meant earlier on in the show. And it's stuff like that that I think makes High Fidelity like a really, really good show. Probably my favorite series that I've seen this year out of the like 3 or 4 shows that I've actually watched this year. It's probably the best. I think it aligns more with my personal taste. And another thing about the show is that while it is still like a rom-com, it still is like High Fidelity. It has this killer soundtrack. It just doesn't quit. Like, just so much music. If you look up the songs played in each episode, it's astronomical. It's a huge number, and there's rarely any duds in terms of song quality. Another thing that I loved about the show is that with its rom-com type quality, it reminded me of past shows that had just recently ended, like You're the Worst in Love. Just dealing with these like unconventional romance and just these dysfunctional relationships. Of course, those shows definitely delve more into the relationships than this show does, but this show does a really, really good and grounded take on that, I think. As far as comparing this show to the movie, it's hard to say which is best. The movie has like about 2 hours to get its job done. This has 10 episodes to really flesh out its characters. And of course, it is a more culturally diverse cast. From the untrained eye, you could just say, well, this is the woke version of this adaptation, and I would have to disagree completely, because the show doesn't have an agenda. Yeah, at times, and by at times I mean like for about 5 minutes in one episode, it talks about certain things that could be considered political, but the show is not even like focused on that at all. It just by default has a diverse cast, and it really fleshes out these characters. Like, for instance, the character that plays the character that would be the Jack Black character in the movie is just so much more likable, and dare I say funnier, just because we're able to flesh out her a lot more than we could Jack Black, who was just sort of like the silly funny guy who was kind of unlikable and just kind of loud, which it worked for that movie. But for the show, she really, really delivers, and she has her own complete arc. And I think it's stuff like that I hope people don't crucify me for this. Stuff like that I think makes this show even better than the movie. And it has obviously all the advantages in the world because it has more time. But I think that for me, as a 30-year-old, this character played by Zoe Kravitz, I align more with this character than I would the John Cusack character, who I watched when I was 14, 15 years old. I think I understand the motivations of Zoe Kravitz's character more, the good and the bad. That's what I like about that character. The characters do good and bad things on this show, and it's explained. Some things that they did bad early on, we don't know about it till way later in the show. After we know the character, and we understand, like, well, this person's not necessarily a bad person. You're just being really, really selfish. And I think it handles the selfishness of human nature quite well, I think. And I'm just really excited to see more. I truly enjoyed it. And like I said, killer soundtrack. I hope that somebody has made like a Spotify playlist of the soundtrack, because I will listen to that like every day, because it's just an infinite amount of good tracks. So yeah, let me know what you thought of this show in the comment section below. Like I said, I think that it is superior to the movie, and I think Zoe Kravitz, though it's early on in the year, I think she gives an award-worthy performance. Not just comedically, but emotionally. She really, really delivers when she needs to. Let me know what you thought about the show in the comment section below. Hit that subscribe button, and thank you for watching.